Hey guys, I'm Dr. Zach Watkins, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to price your functional medicine services in a way so that you feel more confident in your rates. I come across a lot of providers, I've been there myself, that start off their pricing from a sense of per transactional visit. So for instance, someone may come to you as a patient and you use that time as a consult and you're going to dive into some lab work. But what happens is, I think when you start laying out what the program is going to entail or the next steps are going to entail, now you're expecting your patient to then say, okay, well, I got to come back again for this consult. You want me to pay for some supplementation, and then you got to pay for some more tests, and then the interpretation of those tests. And before you know it, you start to see patients not follow through with the recommended programs or care plans or treatments, if you want to call it that. And this happens more often than not. And in my experience, through consulting numerous practitioners and practices, you come across doctors that they don't know what else to do. They think this is the only way to do it, where they come in, they do this transactional visit. Keep in mind, in the functional medicine space, this is different than the transactional traditional medical space. Nothing wrong with transactional traditional medicine, but it's kind of set up like this, and I explain this to patients. They come in for a concern, a symptom, a problem, and their job is to tell the doctor, tell the practitioner what they're feeling, what their symptoms are. Doctor thinks through differential diagnoses, maybe some tests, rule out things, and then give the final answer, give the diagnosis, give the medications, if you will, in this instance. And this is different in the functional medicine space. Nutrition, this took me so long to figure out. I'm not sure why. This is different. Nutrition is slower. It takes longer. You have a thing called organ reserve, where the longer these patients are on the earth and the more stress they have, they're going to lose functionality of the way that their body functions at the cellular level. So therefore, they're going to build this toxicity, oxidative stress, inflammation, and therefore, it's just going to take longer to do the work. So for us as functional medicine clinicians to come in and to say, okay, let's try this, come back and see how you do, try this, come back, see how you do, just does not work. The model does not work. So I want to encourage docs when they're thinking about pricing their services, first of all, and I do this with doctors that we work with, get a list of your hard costs, is what we call them. What does it cost for you to be in business? I would go as detailed as you can. I used to track how much a piece of gauze would cost in our practice, and I think that's probably overkill. But if you list out, let's say, what is your rent? What does it cost for you for the lights to be on? At least start with, let's say if you're using labs, how much does it cost you to do that lab as a doctor? So I always encourage this. What's it cost for you to do the lab as the clinic? And you want to build in your clinician time as an interpretation fee. And I would bundle that as your service. And a big mistakes doctors make when they're pricing their functional medicine services is they'll say, well, this is my business, my clinic, it's a soft cost, I don't have to include that. Huge mistake, because you are now going to lose money slowly. And to be honest, if you had a team member or an employee or someone who works for you, you're not going to say that either. You're not going to say, well, let's not charge for their time. Again, you're not going to be able to employ them for long. So I encourage to build in your time. I think what's fair is think in 30-minute increments and build the test case out, the cost, I guess, the investment for your time based off maybe the degree of difficulty. So for instance, a very straightforward lab profile that won't take very long, I would bill your time at 30 minutes. Let's say it's a more comprehensive genetic profile or hormones. Maybe you want to build out an hour of your time. Okay, so that's 2 units. And that's the deeper discussion I go into with providers about using spreadsheets to kind of maximize your time, how we're going to price things. So therefore, you'll have the test cost plus how much does it cost for your time. Let's take the example of it cost you $100 for 30 minutes to do, that's what you charge for your time. And this is all over the board, so this is just an example. So let's say the test is $200, your cost. Let's say you charge $100 for interpretation. That's $300. As you write this out, I would go ahead and double that to start. Double that cost, so now you're at $600. And I don't want you to think that's expensive, that's overkill. I think that's a different conversation, because the more you do this, the more you know that there's so much expenses, taxes, overhead, insurance, continuing ed, malpractice insurance, team members, all the fees that go with that. I mean, it adds up. I made this mistake for a long time when our clinic was making some decent money to start. We crossed 7 figures, and I started looking at my numbers, and I'm like, we're not as profitable as I thought. And as I had some financial astute people look at it and dive deeper, we come to find out that I wasn't even charging for my time. I was basically just charging to be open, and I basically was a slave to my own business. So go back to that example. Let's say it's $600. I call it retail. So you'll list on your document, my retail cost for this test is $600. So that's why, let's say you have patients in your chiropractic practice, even your medical insurance-based practice, whatever it is, and they say, yeah, I want to do this test. How much can I just go do this test and get it completed? And you would say, yeah, I have it right here. It's $600. Then that's your fee. It's cost for the test. You get billed that overhead, and you're getting paid for your time. And the patient doesn't have to keep swiping their credit card. It's just one time and they're done. So that's how I started thinking about that. Now, as we go along, I think that's how you price your services. So I encourage doctors to list out their retail price for all their services. Is it chiropractic? Is it IV therapy? Is there cryotherapy? Is there things in there that are cost to you and then you charge for it? Obviously, that's going to matter. Let's say cryotherapy, you're not going to bill a bunch of your time, but there is overhead. So I always say have a master list of your costs, your overhead, and what your margins are. And as you start to do this over time, I encourage doctors to revisit this about every quarter to make sure that they're on par with their profit and loss statements, that they are not losing money, that they're taking home a good, that they have enough to pay their staff, they can save for taxes, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is one of the big encouragements I'd say as you're going to price your functional medicine services. Now, this is a different conversation when it gets into what do you do about bundling services? Do you talk about packaging them together? And I would say, yes, you want to package your services together. You're not going to use the full retail price. You would tell patients, or you would have in your head, I have all these retail prices for the tests, for these things that we do. I think if some patient wants to do them, sure, they can pay the a la carte retail price. But patients who are more engaged in their health, who want to be transformed and do the work, then you start building programs to say, how can we bundle this in a price point that is enticing to patients, that still gives us that margin overhead of about 55%, that we're covering our costs, but it's more of a higher dollar because we're asking more investment from the patient, more engagement, more commitment, and more buy-in. I'll save that for another time, but there's a strategic way to do that. So that way, the point of all this is you don't want to lose your shirt. So you got to protect you first. Get your prices clear, what you charge, what it costs you. And once you have that kind of database, that central source of truth, then you could go back and say, how can I bundle services and still protect my margins so that, because as you keep growing, I think the tendency is to not charge enough, and therefore there's a point where you start crashing down. I come across multiple providers who don't think about their costs, they don't think about their overhead, they don't think about their margins, and they just want more clients in the door, more patients, get more patients, sell more stuff. And when it comes down to it, you're still getting this rat race, which is what we here try to get doctors out of. So take that for what that is. Start off with that. If you have questions or if you need clarity, comment below. The other thing I invite you to do is, if you're implementing functional medicine in your business, if this is the year you're doing that, if you are growing a practice and you're kind of stagnant or stuck and you need some more insights, go ahead, DM me, comment below if you have questions, and we'll see you in the next video.